Lock. I got him. Now, Jake, now.
Welcome to your doom. Sometimes may be good, sometimes may be shit.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's my sadist joke to open up a podcast about sadism.
This is what we're talking about, sadism?
Yes. Okay, this was a request by your mother.
Ah, that tracks, Mom.
Hi, Molly.
It was supposed to be one of our
Wait, is this a cry for help?
Probably.
Yeah.
Molly, blink twice.
Yeah.
This is supposed to be one of our super spooky episodes.
I'm sorry, a what?
Super spooky
No,
episode.
it's
super.
Super
Yeah.
spooky.
Throw some
Yeah,
weight on the
super
S
spooky.
there.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry. But we ran out of time. We're a little late, but
We're coming at you hot from 105A.
yeah.
We're gonna hear this. We're gonna hear this
Yes,
sadist
sadism.
joke.
Okay, so here's the
yeah,
sadist joke. Okay, what is a sadist's favorite type of gas?
Cyclone B.
Propane.
Dude,
Oh.
Jake,
Get
you
it?
went-
They're propane.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
you went real dark though.
I don't know. It's a sadist, right?
I mean, I guess. That
was a good guess.
Why did I marry the sadist?
Is this really what we're talking?
Yes.
What? Yeah. Okay. What?
Beats me.
All right. Welcome to the Non-Essentials Podcast. This is episode 105A.
Okay, yeah,
This is the
yeah.
last one. I think. This is the last.
No more sadist. Well, I can't say there's not going to be any more sadist jokes.
No,
'cause
I hope.
Maybe
I hope
more.
there's way
Okay.
more. All my jokes are.
So who are we talking about?
This
Today?
podcast is sadist. Okay. Yes, so today we're talking about Elizabeth Bathory, the Blood Countess.
Can I call her Liz?
Sure. So she's either, this is all trumped up charges against her for being a woman, or she
Sure.
might be the most prolific female serial killer of all time.
Nice.
That's what we're going to find out.
Okay.
So my name is Renee, not sadist, right? But not masochist either, so just go ahead.
Just a normal person?
Yeah,
All
just a regular
so
person in
just
the
say
middle.
Renee Wright then.
I'm just Renee Wright.
Yeah, all right. Well, I'm Adam Renee Wright Riley.
I'm Jake doesn't take a Bathory.
Hey.
Oh, I like that
Yeah,
one.
we can
That's-
all smell.
I heard her last name there. Yeah. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You should have said
I
your
am
name
kind
was
of curious
Liz.
though. Like, do you think it was like? Do you think Bathory? Because I mean, you'd said the trumped up charges, right? My thought process is because her name is Bathory, and I'm not even trying to be funny here. It's like, and then they say that she. I don't.
Does she
wanna
do something with a
spoil-
bath?
We'll learn more about it, but it's just kind of curious. Like, if it's one of those like, if you're a carpenter and build houses, like, and your last name's
No,
Carpenter.
no.
When did this happen? Was it called a bath back then or like a soaking tub?
I don't even, did they soak back
What
then?
did she do?
Okay,
Let's
so
get into
anyways,
it. Okay.
so Elizabeth Bathory was born in 1560. Do you know what I really
Okay,
hate
that wasn't
too?
called a bath back then.
No, that's what I'm saying. It's really old.
Well, maybe.
I hate when it's the 1500s and they call it this, 16th century. Why don't they just call it the 15th century? It's so stupid. Oh, I guess never mind because, okay.
I'll get a hold of Jesus and ask. No.
Okay,
I don't think it does
came to
that.
me as I was like thinking
That's what she
about it.
said.
Okay, so anyway,
Listen,
Europe.
No,
You're
I
up.
told Jake earlier that we were talking about Elizabeth Bathory, and I was kind of like being like, oh, saying the thing about the name, like I don't want. And Jake goes, it's probably because she didn't want to be called Tubby.
Yeah. Yeah, I made that joke. All right. I'll take credit for it. So in the 1500s,
Okay,
Liz
so-
took a
The
bath.
16th century.
She was born to one of the most noble clans of Europe.
Okay.
And so her uncle was the king of Poland.
Sure. Wasn't Poland like the big one back then?
Yeah,
Poland for the long
yeah.
time? Okay. And was England even England yet?
Yes, of course it was.
Okay, I don't know. Jesus.
Back to Elizabeth. So she had a childhood of wealth, power, privilege. Like I said, she had an uncle who was the king of Poland. Her other uncle was a prince of Transylvania.
Sure.
I was going to say her great uncle is king, but it seems so
So I almost had
distant.
an aunt.
Yeah.
Sorry, keep going.
So anyway, she was a little bit different too because of her higher elevated status. She was literate, where a lot of nobles, even male nobles, were not literate.
Was she technically in line for the throne at all?
No.
Like at one point, Queen Elizabeth wasn't supposed to be, and then her uncle noped out to France, right? And then her
What
dad.
are you talking about?
No, her dad.
He's doing some royalty.
No,
knowledge.
I'm asking, like, was she
Elizabeth's
in?
dad was the king of England,
For someone
Yeah,
that-
but his
for
brother
someone that
was
didn't know
first.
a lot about
but he died when he was a child.
No. His older brother abdicated, right, with that chick
no.
from Pennsylvania.
No, that's Transylvania.
Yeah, that's the same.
What are you talking about?
This is history repeating itself.
Okay.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about.
Scranton, Transylvania.
Okay, so she was well educated in Poland, which sounds like a contradiction.
Well, she's
Jumbo shrimp.
Yeah.
I should mention she's in Hungary.
Okay.
Hungary.
All right.
Okay.
Which was a lot bigger back then than, well, it's non-existent now, but I mean, like, pretend it's really big, like, in your mind.
I usually do.
Okay. So, and when she was born, there was the Long War.
Hell yeah.
Okay.
So, like the Ottomans?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so they
At
were,
the end of a couch.
yeah, they were like fighting a lot with like Eastern European countries in Russia. And so there was like the, Ottoman Empire versus like the, Russian Empire. And then there's the Ottomans were Muslim.
Okay.
And so then it's Muslim versus Christian. Okay. Then in Christian, it's Catholic versus Protestant. So there's like so many.
So was this during the Crusades, technically? Or
if you remember correctly, like
was the Spanish Inquisition?
Are you just saying just?
I'm very confused.
Okay. No, okay.
I'm sorry if I'm stupid.
No. You have.
We need a new Jesus. It's too long since he died.
So it's not technically then, but it's like soon after then, and this will go on for years and years and years, and
Sure.
So anyway, so there's all these wars going on, and so it's a really challenging time for any noble.
Okay.
Let alone somebody who's like a female noble on top of all these fighting and these different sects.
I mean, I feel like up until like the last 100 years, it's probably kind of like challenging for any female to be in a leadership role anyway.
But you know who was in a leadership role at the same time she was alive? Queen Elizabeth of England.
The same one?
Same one that you were talking about
a year ago.
Yeah, I know. She had a really long reign.
They have an inbreeding problem.
I'm so glad you brought that up.
Why?
This is so old school. No, but I am so excited because this is very old school TNEP. Because when I first started doing this, you would say things that would like spark my memory, and I would get so excited because I would have forgot it. But speaking of inbreeding. She was a child of inbred parents, and she was inbred. Okay. Because, of course, with nobility, you want to like keep it all in the family so that nobody else gets power.
They say that incest is a game the whole family can play, stuff like that. So I get it.
So because of that, she had epileptic seizures, and the cure back then for epileptic seizures is to take the blood of a person who's not epileptic and put their blood all over the lips of the person who is epileptic to cure them.
I could be a doctor back then.
Yeah.
Like right now. She could also count to 12 on her hands because of the inbreed.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, okay. Right.
Sounded like someone got caught going down on someone. No, that's how you cure epilepsy.
So this will kind of
clown mouth. Yeah. from
she was shaking. I cured her.
Getting clown mouth from an epileptic.
Yeah.
So this plays into the part of Elizabeth Bathory's reputation for like drinking blood.
Okay. So she wasn't actually drinking blood? Which I'm just hearing about.
Not that isn't any firsthand account.
Okay.
But I don't know that she did it.
She was definitely still like a lunatic.
Can I ask, where did the non-epileptic blood come from? Was it just like they put out
the peasants who were not inbred?
They put out like a flyer at this point, like epileptic ? We don't want you. Otherwise, come for free rolls. I don't know.
I actually don't know. They'd be like, have you had a seizure recently? And they might be like, nah. Sure.
Would they only do it with like also inbred blood to keep it?
No.
I have a lot of questions about it.
No, non-inbred blood. Non-royal blood was the blood that was put on her lips.
Ah, okay.
So it's like people from the villages.
Sure.
Anybody that didn't have epilepsy, they put their blood on their lips. Basically, it's one of those things where they were like, I think
that's how Sandra Bullock keeps her face tight too, but just with like Korean foreskins.
I thought it was young guys.
Yeah, it was Korean, baby foreskin or something.
Yeah.
Okay, some young guy. Okay.
All right, keep going.
So cut that out. Okay, so anyway.
We're working through some stuff right now.
Cut all of it.
No.
There was also a huge gap of wealth between the gentry and everybody else.
Okay.
So they would have, like, for instance, she had 10 castles. And each castle has like all these peasants that, work to bring in money to the castle. Mm-hmm. and she had 10 of them, but yet people couldn't feed their kids. Like, people were starving to death at this time. But it's like, when we were talking about...
Was she supposed to not have 10 castles? I mean, what do you want?
No, but it was it's like a kulak situation.
Yeah.
Like the
from
kulaks.
Manzino Island?
Yeah, from Manzino, where they would have plenty of food from farming, but they are not allowed to eat the food. Or present day North Korea. You can cut that out too if you want. But anyways...
You think Kim Jong's going to get mad? Like,
yes, he has a temper. But anyway, so like they would have all this food, but they weren't able to like subsist off of... And then she had excess.
She's walking around with peasant blood on her mouth.
Well, no, it's basically. I mean, it's what she's saying is that basically, even though there was a surplus of resources, they weren't allowed to dip into it. They had to give it all to Elizabeth Bathory, or Liz, as you call her.
Sure. All right.
So she was exposed to a lot of violence as a child because her dad would be sort of excessive with his dealings with the peasants.
Sure.
So, for instance, like this...
Well, yeah, you got to keep 10 castles in line without having a revolt.
Yeah.
I'd imagine.
Yeah, I guess.
I mean, I guess there's different rules of thumb, but I mean, if you lay a fucking heavy hand on, on the peasants to like... I'm not justifying it, but I'm saying like
I'm justifying it. It was the 16th century.
Yeah, exactly. Fair enough.
As an example, her father had a gypsy beaten, had the horse's gut sliced open,
Okay.
put the gypsy fellow in it.
All right.
And that's how, the horse is dying, obviously, but it wasn't dead when they started cutting it. And then they sewed the horse's gut back up, and then the dude would die inside.
They gave him a horset?
Is that a corset joke?
Yeah.
Okay. Boo. No, basically, no. They literally pulled like a George Lucas took a right out of here.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah, a little
like
bit.
right from like Tauntaun, Han Solo, Luke here.
Yeah.
Like except for when he grabbed that gypsy, he put him inside that horse. He did not say it may smell bad. It'll keep you warm.
Right.
So that's the only big difference there.
Yeah, this guy wasn't breathing anymore.
Yeah. So he's basically.
I guess he could put his lips to like the stitching part, but.
No, there's a natural opening in the horse right underneath the tail that you can breathe the hole. It's like the snorkel of the horse.
This guy's a real piece of shit, huh?
Yeah.
Like, this takes so much work. Just kill the gypsy.
Yeah, I mean it was obviously
Just have it out already.
Be halfway through gutting this horse. Be like, you know what? Just,
Well, he wasn't doing the gutting. He had gutting
He
people.
outsourced his
Yes.
maniacalism. Ugh.
Yes. His
I mean,
sadism.
I gotta,
He's like a little Joffrey at this point.
I think the thing you need to remember back then though is that this is more like Internet Explorer versus like Google Chrome. Okay, they didn't have like the entertaining things that we've got now.
That's
Everything
true.
is moving a lot slower. Like
yeah,
let's just watch this horse die for a while. Then I guess with the dude inside.
that's true.
So it's like that.
So her dad was Internet Explorer and she's Chrome?
I guess.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think I turned more into like a gambling opportunity. Like, let's see how long he lives.
Yeah.
Place your bets.
Fair enough. There
Like
you
that
go.
episode of The Office.
Yeah.
So she was betrothed when she was 10 to Count Nacity, which was a political match because she
It's an awful name.
outranked him. I know. I'm so glad you mentioned
I think a lot of that
Farnick.
stuff though is like if you had a daughter that ended up being like a bartering chip.
Yeah, yeah, of course.
And much to the chagrin of the daughter, but it was always very sad. But it's like if you had like, your children weren't like, well, I hope you find somebody that you like. It's like.
But that goes for the males as well.
I know.
mean,
Well, that's what I'm saying.
yeah.
Is that like who's got more land?
It's a girl like, nice, that's 16 oxen.
Yeah. Well, no,
Good job,
like,
wife.
You joke, but I mean, like, obviously the dowry is different, but like with every case, but like, it's sad, but it was basically always a land grab and like title and prestige and everything else to climb different echelons of royalty.
And he came from a military family where his father, grandfather, great-grandfather were all like military leaders.
Farnick? Is that his name?
Yeah.
Okay.
Nacity.
Farnick Nacity. All right.
But his last name was so Nacity that he changed his last name to Bathory.
Oh, he took her name.
Right. Yeah.
Is he,
I didn't know that was going to run. That was like a happy little
I like
accident.
it. Oh, that was good.
Okay,
he's
so
the
anyway,
original pussy.
I just appreciate the fact that he didn't hyphenate. God, every time I see someone with a hyphenated name, I'm like, fuck you.
Yeah.
Fence rider.
Yeah. Oh, you're so brave.
Adam's like, pick a clan, pick a clan.
No, for what's I think Lindsay brought that up. She's like, what did you think about taking my last name? And I was like, well, I'd be all for it, but I just wonder if could I come to the wedding? Sorry, I'm not taking that beach for society. Like, hi, I'm a pussy. It's like,
I don't think it's a pussy. It's like, do whatever you want, but like, just
I didn't want to do it.
Fair enough. All right.
Okay, so they married when they were both 15. And when they married, she had 10 castles / estates. And the land went from Hungary. I don't know how you're supposed to say
15-year-old
it.
with 10 castles sounds like the biggest brat I've ever heard of in my life. Like,
Yeah.
I bet they were so over it in the wedding. Just like the whole time. Like, whatever I do.
Yeah, I mean, you've seen My Sweet 16.
Yeah. Oh.
Can you imagine that?
Yeah.
With instead of like Acura cakes.
Yeah. Here comes Fairnick.
So from whatever, Hungary to Transylvania. So they were like the Brangelina of their time.
Ugh.
I know. You should send in the newspapers. Yeah. Okay, so she lived most of her life in Countess, which is in modern-day Slovakia.
Do all names over there suck? I mean,
yes.
That's an honest question. Like,
yes, it's Eastern Europe. Everything still
every
sucks.
name and sounds like a sneeze or what you say before it.
Okay, so he was a sadist, and he was known as the Black Knight of Hungary.
That's a good name.
Well, he's probably like starving for a better nickname.
Yeah, there you
Since
go.
he's from Hungary.
Cat like that joke.
Yeah. She's like, I object.
Adam's getting catcalled.
Hey-o.
I know. I was thinking like the Martin Lawrence movie, Black Knight, you know?
I never seen that one.
Come on. What have you seen?
You haven't
I've
seen
seen lots.
It's pretty funny. Didn't he say his name was Luke Skywalker?
Yes, his name is Skywalker.
We're going full circle, actually.
Yes, his name was Skywalker in the Black Knight.
I'll have to watch
It's
this.
like Martin Lawrence goes, they're like, what is your name, good sir? He's like, Luke Skywalker.
All right, listen, listeners, I'll watch it. You watch it. We'll take notes.
Yeah.
I love Martin Lawrence, so I'm disappointed
You like
I missed
Martin
it.
Lawrence, and you also like movies that are horribly bad.
Yeah,
So it's like a marriage right there.
This is Fairnick Hasselbecker for me, or whatever. I don't know what his last name is.
Okay, so torturing servants was not uncommon at the time, but what was uncommon in the Bathory household was the extent of the torture.
Okay.
So her sadist husband would teach her his little sadist tricks.
Do you think they got off on it?
Totally.
That's what she's talking about.
Okay.
Yeah, like they would beat people up and then, make out and pleasure themselves in each other.
Just imagine the
stuff.
servant's like older than them, like, ugh. It's like a 15-year-old, like a dance. Just
So she would always go further, like when it was her turn.
Sure.
So anyway,
like the chick from The Craft.
I never saw The
Bobby
Craft,
Boucher's girlfriend. Well, now you have homework. So, like, Jesus.
but I have seen Waterboy.
What is happening?
Okay, so
Yeah.
anyway. So one year as a gift, he gave her a glove that had spikes on it so that when she would slap girls in the face, it would do the maximum amount of damage. You would like literally slice
Just,
their
like, rip their
skins open.
face.
Yeah.
Okay. I have a hard time even picturing these people existed. I mean,
I know.
I believe you, but I don't.
I mean, you
But I
think
do.
about I get it. The only way
Wait a second. You live in 2023 and you think
Yeah,
that
that's
this is
true.
unbelievable?
That's true.
No, the only
I
thing I
know.
can say-
That's a good point.
I mean, considering the fact that just even a few decades ago, we've talked about things such as like Nenzino Island, where people are literally eating each other while they were still alive and stuff
Sure.
like that. Like
Yeah.
the horrific nature of humans when they get down to like I'm untouchable, I can do whatever I want.
Yeah.
Like it's actually, since we're talking about movies, I guess Blindness. Remember the movie Blindness?
No.
Okay,
No,
there you
I
go.
don't
Listeners.
either.
Look up the movie Blindness.
It sounds like
But I mean-
Charlie Manson and Madonna.
No, but that's where like when if there's no repercussions because they're in such a state of royalty that they can do whatever they want.
Okay.
And
There was no checks and balances.
exactly. That's a great
Yeah.
way to say it, and with no repercussions. So they were kind of like it's almost like just like pushing the boundaries over and over and over. So like the spike glove shit, it's like sure slap is bad, but ripping her face off is even cooler. So it's like this just a compounding awfulness.
All right.
So I saw, and I don't know if this is true or not, because this was not in the book that I read, but it was in a different source, that she made this girl cut her boob off and then cook it and eat it. Like eat her own.
Give me a minute. I'll think of a pun. All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's just like flapjacks.
So now this one is like considered a firsthand source where she had one of her servants taken outside, stripped, covered in honey, and then she just left her out there, and eventually like the insects like ants, bees.
Yeah, that's called scaphism or the boats. And what they would do is they would literally take people. This is like a common thing. This isn't even like an Elizabeth Bathory thing. But they would take like people as like a way of torturing, and they would put them out. They called the boats because they would put them out like suspended in between like two boats or whatever. And they would cover their genitals and their faces with like honey. And then they would be tied down, and then basically all the insects and animals and whatnot would come and eat the genitals and their face.
Sounds awful.
Yeah.
Sounds really freaking awful.
So this is what YouTube
Yeah.
took the place of. Like YouTube stepped in and all this attention.
Yeah.
See what happens without it?
Yeah.
So even her husband was like kind of freaked out by her because he's like, man, I thought I was bad. She's even, if any husband says his wife is crazy, it's this husband about her. Okay.
All right.
Yeah, there's probably been some others, but yeah.
But for sure, this guy.
Okay.
And so he never stood up to her. So whatever she wanted, she did. And people are like, well, shouldn't, you tell your wife to like dial it back? And he's like, nah,
You tell
nah,
her.
fam. I'm not gonna.
I gave her that glove and I haven't gone near her since.
Yeah.
Just challenge everybody to a duel.
I don't dare. I don't dare. So
Some guys are so led astray or just like controlled by their wives. Like Elizabeth must have some dynamite pussy.
She must have. That's the conclusion here. Is,
shooting rainbows out of
it
it.
is from Poland.
So he would have to be gone for long periods of time fighting the Turks and whatnot. So when he was gone, she's running all these estates by herself.
Okay.
Which, I say that it doesn't sound like that big of a deal, but it's like running a Fortune 500 company because she's making sure that no one is stealing from her. So from the farmer to the people who are reaping it, to the people who are packaging it,
This is what
the
Diane
people who are
Hendricks is
selling
doing?
it. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just want to double check.
Oh, the cat's getting evacuated here. They're like, yeah, you're out of here.
Getting catapulted.
Yeah.
She's pro-Elizabeth, I guess.
Yeah.
She did nothing wrong.
I like scratching faces too.
Yeah.
Okay, so
right.
she was very business minded and she was very smart that way. So it wasn't just that she was literate and wealthy, but she also had a good brain on herself. In fact, she was really well adversed in military history and stuff like that. So she gave her husband advice on like how to fight battles, and he would use them and they would be successful.
I bet he pretended to listen. Like,
She wasn't just literate, but she could also like read the room, which I can appreciate.
Yeah.
That was funny. Fuck you.
All right. So on the side, she and, this count, they had like a bajillion children.
Gross. Okay.
They're like the Nick Cannon, what I'm going to get to that in the next one. But anyway.
Pussy was just like a clown car.
Yeah, exactly. And she was known to be a very loving and doting mother, never hurt her kids.
Weird.
She was like super loving with her children.
You say that, but I've also heard about like other like legitimate in the 20th century, or I guess 21st century. How do you say it?
Yeah, we're in the 21st now.
damn it.
Yeah.
I'm falling into her bullshit. But anyway, but no, I've heard about like actual like serial killers who can compartmentalize their awfulness.
Like BTK. He was
Yes.
like the best dad.
Exactly.
Or
There you
Yeah.
go.
Darth Vader. Everybody gave him props for being this great guy, but it was only when the Emperor was roasting his son alive did he finally
I was gonna say,
did he
he's
finally do something to stop
like,
him.
"Oh,
They're like,
maybe I
all right, he's not that bad a guy after all. No, self-interest, nepotism. So,
it's a lot of Star Wars references here.
Yeah.
But it's the ability to. I think that is like a legit like psychopath or sociopath where you're able to like compartmentalize. Like you're like, nope, time to be a good dad. Oh, time to be wretched.
Yeah.
And it's pretty crazy.
So there were 17 villages within 20 miles of her most favorite castle.
what a rich bitch.
I know.
It's like what a.
So she would be able to hire these peasant girls to work in her palace. Well, people would be so excited to have their daughter go work there because you'd get fed, you'd get like nice clothes,
Cool
all these
scars
things.
on your face.
Yeah.
You get slapped in the face with a glove that had spikes on it. So, and then when these girls would disappear, who cares? Like, even if her family complains, what difference does it make?
Plenty of horses to go around.
Yeah, there you go.
It's like Biden having classified documents and he was the vice president.
Whoa!
Okay, so cut that out. Okay, so anyways. So
We got her.
so she like
Been
had
a large sting operation to get you to say that.
Yeah.
I was paid to say that. I just want to say that. Okay, so
5
anyways,
episodes it took.
Yeah.
she would never perform like the same type of torture again. So whatever she did at once, that was it. That was done. She would never do that. She would do something else. So she reportedly killed 650 girls, and I just don't know that there's 650 ways of killing people.
There's a lot. Yeah, there's.
Okay, maybe I'm not as imaginative. I get bored after a while and just start.
Well,
This is
clearly,
the one department where I'm like, her and I, we could figure it out.
Yeah, she's clearly. Well, I mean,
10 castles, you can just throw her off different windows.
You got like the pin board with like, or sorry.
This is the original 1,000 Ways to Die.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I love that show.
650 ways.
Sure.
Okay, so for instance, a type of torture could be it was related to the infraction. So like if some girl was like stitching her clothes and they did the stitches wrong, she would practice on them. She would just cut them and be like, here, this is I'm going to stitch you up. So, so that you won't mess up my stitching again. Or if they burn the clothes with an iron, put the iron on their face.
Okay.
Or if they complained, she would sew their lips shut.
Which lips?
You know which lips.
I was like, what if you go down on her? What if you go down on her wrong?
I'm so glad you mentioned
To
that.
death.
You sew your lips.
I'll go into that later. So there was a girl who stood up to her and said, what she really thought. And she pulled the girl's lower jaw completely out. So I guess she won't be talking anymore.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Okay, sure.
So maybe don't do that. And then she had cages in her torture chamber, like all different kinds of cages. I mean, obviously there was like torture chambers in lots of castles, like all over, not just this one. But the difference is like the engineering of the cages and the contraptions, because like there was one that like you would, cycle once a day or whatever, and then it would go a little further in, and then the next day it goes
rack.
a little. Sort of,
yeah,
but like slower.
Yeah.
Do you think they're on like a 28-day cycle?
Nah.
Yeah, definitely.
Ladies. And they bleed.
Another thing she did was like, if she wasn't having people like girls starve to death, she would have them stripped, taken outside where it's super cold, and then pour water on them. So it would turn to ice, and then they would freeze to death, which is a very painful way to die.
Why just girls?
Because her sadism and her sexual...
She's a lesbian, dude.
Yeah, she was a lesbian. Okay, there we go.
We'll get into that in a bit. But like, I just want to imagine putting someone down on the ground and then just in freezing cold weather, and then just constantly pouring layers and layers of water over them. So as it hits, it freezes, hits and freezes, hits and freezes, and it's just like this mountain of like layers of ice that is just building on top of this still alive person. Just the amount of like patience, I guess, that it takes to like just like endure the like to.
Well,
watch.
sadists like to take their time too.
Yeah.
And she has a dad that just tolerated this.
Well,
No, her husband.
But she
husband
also
was
still
in
had,
it.
she still had a father at some point.
But he was always.
but he's a sadist too. So what
all
is
right,
he?
all right.
Just
This
grew
is
up-
like-
that's
this is-
what I was saying earlier.
Sure.
Like all this shit was like normalized for her. She's like, that's Tuesday. Time to fucking like use the pear of despair on somebody.
Do you ever think she got like depressed halfway through and she's like, this doesn't feel fun anymore?
That did happen actually when she was going through the change. I'm not gonna. Okay, so anyways,
The person getting killed is like, hey, what's wrong?
because like it's like kind of like serial killers. They focus on the object of their sexual desire.
Sure.
So that's why she's doing young girls.
Oh, okay.
So she would humiliate them by having them perform their duties naked,
Okay.
like kind of like the maid fantasy, with the duster thing.
Yeah,
So anyway,
I mean, have you ever seen a full body flex though? Not
Yeah.
to go full Seinfeld, but remember like trying to open up the pickle jar?
yeah.
In the 16th
Naked.
century, too. Just a lot of creases.
So in another example, she put
No lotion.
needles
Yeah.
under the fingernails of one of the girls.
Ooh.
And someone said, it's too much, you're hurting her too bad. And she said, if it hurts, the whore can pull it out. So the girl's like, okay, I'll pull the needles out. So she pulls the needles out, and then Elizabeth just chopped off her fingers.
Fun. I don't know what to say to this. Like,
So
this
maybe
is,
she should have just let the needles in, I guess.
this is the worst
she
person
wanted,
I've ever
like,
heard of.
She enjoyed like the blood and stuff like that coming out. So it's like if you were getting tortured by her, she wanted you to like be positive and not be negative.
She sounds like a hellraiser at this point.
Trying to make blood jokes here.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Be positive.
I got it.
So a few lucky gals died right away because she'd be so angry sometimes and be in such a rage that she would just go so hard that they would die within minutes. But most girls, she did take her time because they do have the patience for it. And when they fantasize, they're taking their time as well. But when she got older, like I said, as she's getting into her older years where she's maybe not having that sexual desire and she's trying to like recapture it.
Sure.
It's basically how Stella got her groove back.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
She was like, she couldn't go down to the dungeon anymore because her knees were bad. So they would like bring the girls up there to her. And then she would just like bite their boob off or something.
Yeah, well, she would like sit there and try to just bite chunks out of them. But I mean, just imagine like this invalid old lady that's bedridden and they're like,
I hope her teeth break off. is
they're
what I
just
would
like
say.
trying to bring it up. She's just gumming on your forearm for a while.
Yeah. It is like
I hate it.
you're pretending like, this really hurts.
Yeah, after a while, you're probably just like, I'll do it myself.
Yeah. Just lean until she's dead. I don't know. Just like a dog bites you, push it in the back of its mouth. Like,
And so she had these servants that helped her, which were Ayana Joe, Anna, Dorca, and Fizgo, who was this hunchback guy.
Can't believe those names stayed in the past.
I know. No one named their kids after that.
Dorca?
I don't see Dorca.
There's probably a
in the back.
Dorca nowadays.
Reminds me when we were younger, we used to go to SeaWorld all the time. I know it's horrible. I didn't know back then.
Dorca whale?
But I used to call my sister the Dorky Orky.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you?
That's the dicky dick for a whale. But
So she like had these people like get rid of all the bodies too, because like the thing is these bodies were like piling up and there's like nowhere to go with them and like the ground would be frozen. It's like, what do you do with all these
they're
bodies?
16th century problems.
Yeah, for real.
Right.
Her husband died in 1604 after 29 years of marriage and 8 surviving children.
Did they have a good marriage? Did it say
Yes,
that?
they did.
I mean, he was gone most of the time.
Yeah.
Fighting.
I think they had pillow talk. Like, who'd you skin today?
Well, look at your pillow.
Oh, hey, her eyes are in it.
I think that when I was reading about it, he had his women and then she had her women, but they were like bonded like mentally.
They're both into women.
They're
They have
making
something in common.
they're making like good mental connection, like they were good friends.
Sure.
The best of friends. Okay, so
You
anyway,
put your penis in once in a while.
Well, sometimes the breast of friends when they cut them off.
Yeah.
Is that your breast joke you're looking for?
That was, yeah.
Okay, there we go.
There's a breast of times.
The worst of times.
you were mistaken. Okay, so anyways,
That's pretty good. All right.
no, that's not good. But anyway, so her downfall is that after he died, she was kind of depressed and like torturing regular girls just wasn't doing it for her anymore.
Her heart wasn't in it.
I just can't imagine.
I know you're skinning her, but
It's like we've done this so many times.
You just hear like, like,
this is boring.
think of something new to scream.
Yeah.
So she thought it would be more enjoyable to do this to girls of the lower gentry. So she appealed to other families saying, I will take your daughter, I will teach her all the etiquette and all the manners and all the things that will make her the best wife so they could
Finishing school, right?
Yeah, finishing school,
Okay.
basically to make
Finish her. So,
Yeah.
Sorry.
so that these families agreed because they figured they could, being that connection to Elizabeth Bathory, that they could get their daughter married to like a better dude. And so the problem is that the daughters, they don't come back. They,
They're like a shitty boomerang.
So they started complaining to like the middle gentry, and then it goes up the ladder until it hits the king.
Like, hey, our kids didn't come back.
Yeah, they're like, yeah, our
What a
kids.
shitty time.
So the king had heard so many stories. He's like, this is ridiculous. This can't be true. So he ordered an investigation, which is like unheard of. That you don't investigate people in the gentry. You don't investigate anyone with royal blood or noble blood. But he did. And so he sent Count Thurzo.
Stupid
I know.
name again.
It is.
Come on, Poland.
But Count
They've been bad at
Thurzo,
this forever.
Hey, are you dissing Gregory?
Yes.
yeah, what's
His name is Gregory
yeah.
Thurzo.
So Gregory Thurzo. Okay, so his best friend was Elizabeth's husband.
Okay.
And when her husband died, he was like, I'm going to take care of her, I promise. And I'm like, I bet you will. I bet you will.
Yeah.
But anyway, so he goes over there.
And you know the husband's like, yeah, sure, man, have fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you knew what I knew, kind of
Like
thing.
Mr. Toad's wild ride.
Yeah. Have fun with the old bear trap.
So
Don't try to fuck her.
Yeah, you know what? Do it. It shows up in heaven. What happened? Tried to fuck her.
Try to fuck her.
So the
My
Count
dick off.
is arriving at the castle, and he knows that obviously something's off right at the beginning because there's dead bodies, dead girls,
These
they're
girls aren't
littering the
supposed to be dead.
passageways.
Yeah.
And when he's like going to the door area, there's like a girl who's actually like in the process of dying. She's still alive, but you know,
It's like the
fading.
valet.
Yeah. Don't forget to have
Sell me in your horse.
Don't forget to have your ticket punched.
Yeah. It's like a joking level of carnage.
Yeah.
Actually, what it reminds me of is like cover art for like a Cannibal Corpse album.
Yeah.
You know, it's
It's like Monty Python, Game of Thrones.
yeah, exactly.
So basically, he wrote the king, and he's like, "There's dead girls in the garden. There's dead girls in the entryway. They're in the cemetery. They're in the village. They're like dead bodies everywhere."
Yeah, there's a weird storm that came through here. Like,
Yeah.
It's like tornado.
And now there is actually still a firsthand account of a letter that he wrote to his wife about it.
Okay.
That'll come important in a few minutes, but
He's like, dearest, I should have brought you so you appreciate me more. Like,
yeah. Okay, so he wrote back to the king, told him all that, and the king's like, okay, so this probably is true, like some of the things that he's hearing, but he can't just like put her on trial.
so this king is who? The uncle
Yes,
again?
it is her uncle.
So it's like, damn it. She's like, I knew that kid was fucked.
So what he decides to do instead is that he put her like servants that were her bitches.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
guess.
yeah. Let's
So-
go with that.
Her henchman.
Yeah.
So like Iona Joe, Anna,
Hunchman.
Dorky, Dorka,
on.
Fizco,
Thank you.
they all went on trial.
What was that last one? Fizco?
Yeah, the hunchback guy.
Okay. All right, sure.
Okay.
Hunchman.
Sounds like a soda. So like,
What?
Fizco.
Oh, I thought you said something else.
What do you think I said?
I don't know. Anyway, so like they were all, of course, convicted of torturing these girls.
Yeah. It was their fault, not her.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
was.
It's obviously the hunchback. His hunch got bigger for every girl he tortured.
Yeah,
This is
yeah.
really smart of her to keep like evil-looking ghouls.
But the evil-looking ghoul still got male privilege. And I'm going to tell you why. Because the females were burned to death.
They're hard to burn, I hear.
It is. And the male was beheaded.
Yeah, that's male privilege.
It is male privilege. It's like,
Yeah,
I'd
yeah.
rather take the beheading personally. But anyways. So in her own
And the hunchback, where do you cut? You gotta be like cutting a watermelon.
Yeah, I never thought about that.
The guillotine. That's half. You gotta jump on it.
Thanks for that
Yeah.
illuminating
They-
visual.
excuse yourself.
Ah, it's pus.
There's no way to get ahead in life.
And when the
It's a
king
guillotine scar?
like an old
I
whale.
guillotine one.
Like an old whale with like squid scars. See you tomorrow.
I punished. Back to mistress.
BRB, Bathory.
Stop it. I'm going to have to go to the bathroom again.
Dude, piss yourself,
No,
please.
no. Okay, so ready? So
Again, I should say.
the king personally asked Elizabeth, like, what's up? Stop, I heard this. Stop
Yeah.
being mad because I, can't
She
just let this
gonna-
keep going forever.
She gonna drop the Bathory bombshell?
Yeah. Well, she told the king
There's no
that
toasters back then.
that there was all these dead girls and all these bodies, but it wasn't her. It was his servants, and the reason that
They
she
were
didn't.
killing themselves.
Well,
that one skinned herself.
keep in mind too, she did get kind of punished.
She loved it.
Well, no,
They took away her dorky
Well, no, they yeah.
Wait, what was
they
that?
and her hunchback.
no, they Rapunzeled her ass.
Oh, they put her in a tower?
They put her in timeout.
Yeah, they put
okay.
her on like the thing where you put the bracelet around your ankle.
Home arrest.
Home arrest, yeah, home arrest.
Sure. Okay.
But she told the king that, the reason why she didn't stop it is because she was afraid of the servants.
Yeah. She was at their bidding.
She's like, I'm just a woman
Classic
who's scared.
bitch fashion. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just gumming ladies to death.
Yeah.
So when she was sequestered to this other like remote castle, she was there for like almost 4 years before she died. But recently, her reputation is being rehabilitated.
Yeah.
How?
Netflix is doing it, I think.
Because
And she was technically empowered.
Just revisionist history.
Yeah.
because they're saying like, some of the stuff that's being said about her could just be because they don't like the fact that a woman was in charge.
It's the patriarchy.
Yeah, it's the patriarchy.
Not her being a psychopath piece of shit.
All right.
So the case for
So
her,
her killing all those women was men's fault.
Yes.
I
Yeah.
see it.
the
Sorry
case,
about that.
the case in her favor was that the Count Thurzo, who reported against her, said that the story's because he would get her land. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, so if he gets
so
rid
it's
of
like
her,
a slander, because sometimes they do say like if someone has this awful history, it's because of like a slander campaign was run and people believed the rhetoric.
yeah.
Yeah.
So that's what you're saying with this.
I mean, like back then, there's a lot of blood slinging.
Yeah.
The other thing is because this is present day. So because there was no trial, she was never allowed to actually defend herself and say what really happened.
Poor girl.
She was actually a healer. And when she was burning these girls, she was cauterizing the wound.
Oh, with like crystals and shit.
Yeah.
And essential oils that just happen to be petroleum.
Yeah.
She was assisting these poor village girls to get abortions. She just wasn't good at it.
She just got them both. She was great at it.
What was it called? Twofers.
Yeah.
She's like, I tried.
What's better birth control than making sure you can't give birth ever again?
Yeah. Die one, get one, or whatever.
There's
Dogos? No.
Yeah. There's no proof of her kill count. Which, does anyone give up their kill count?
I believe it's called body count by the youth nowadays.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it's peaks in college years.
Yeah.
no one can substantiate Count Thurzo's claims because no one asked the dead girls how they died
That's flawless logic.
and who did it to them. And then,
Except for the one girl, this is Bathory did it, carved it.
Yeah.
oh yeah, she did brand a lot of girls.
Yeah.
B for Bathory.
Thurzo could have done that too. Goddamn patriarchy.
Yeah. And that it could be possible that many of the girls died just from illness.
Sometimes they turn inside out on their own.
Yeah. Exactly.
But as far
They
as
went over the swing set.
as far as the noble
Remember that.
girls go,
Claymation shit?
Yeah.
they're saying that one of the noble girls went crazy and then she just killed all the rest of the girls.
I love this, like,
And then Elizabeth just covered it up because it looks bad for her school.
Yeah. The ability to just completely blind, it's like flat earthers. They're like, what in the fuck are you talking about?
Sure.
Like just their inability to accept reality and like point like it's like,
She's got a real Wednesday Adam vibe to her, though.
But not even square.
I could see Netflix taking this on, be like, maybe she was set up.
I could see a porn taking it on, to be honest
Ooh.
with you.
I don't know if you know porn very well. Like, except the incest, you're right. They'll get onto that. That's
There
pretty
were no
well
dryers
worn
back
track.
then.
Yeah.
Okay, so anyways.
They were wooden.
yeah, she's getting stuck in the hand wringer.
Yeah.
The case.
What are you doing, step sis, mom,
What
grandma?
are you doing, my actual fucking brother? Because we're in the incest.
Making a prince.
Get him on the ottoman.
We call it royalty style. So
That's when you bend him over the ottoman.
I like that. Might be the pun of the night.
It might be.
Trophy. Yeah.
That still says best farter. Damn it. Get them both.
Okay, so the case against her is that it's true. Lots of girls disappeared at whatever castle she was staying at. Lots of girls were disappearing from the villages nearby.
Tell you what, I don't doubt that there was some super satisfied serial killer living just next to that castle. Like, just like mouth always full, like, hey, Liz, you know, he's got 2 of them. Hey, you got 2 more, huh? I'll send you the skin. Yeah.
There's firsthand documents because it's not just Count Thurzo, but a lot of like
I can't get over his stupid ass name.
I know.
It's just,
But
sounds like he wouldn't even have a cereal after him.
like the priests, are all literate. Or usually they're literate because they copy the Bible like over and over and over and over.
Sure.
But anyways, and they have documents saying what happened. And then the torture chambers, which, like I said, exist in many castles, but hers were
Elaborate.
Can
unusual.
we DNA test these torture chambers? Like with a black light, just they're all blind.
Yeah.
And then the methods that she was repeatedly employing stand up to now what psychologists call sexual sadism.
Oh, so it falls in line with what others still do.
So sexual sadists are almost always psychopaths, which means that they can maintain relationships, and that's how they go unnoticed. So like Ted Bundy, like a lot,
Yeah, the compartmentalizing.
Yeah.
You know.
Like BTK, oh, he's the best dad,
Well, yeah,
also
you're sitting
kills
there just
people.
at work, like tonight.
Yeah. Something to look
just
forward to.
Clickety clack, clickety clack.
Just like sliding down like Fred Flintstone down the Bronx.
Yeah, but yeah. That's quitting time. Just grabbing a chick on the way out.
Okay, they tend to be.
Yeah. Stuffing her into the Pelican under the sink. You got a crap job.
Oh man.
They're charismatic. They have complex fantasies where they need time and seclusion to act out their fantasies. And unlike today, it was really easy for Elizabeth Bathory.
She had nothing but time, you know, and
Now-
resources to do it.
That's true. No Netflix.
That's true. No
Yeah.
internet. Okay, so her Aunt Clara said that she was a lesbian, that Aunt Clara was. She's like, I'm a lesbian, and also so
Strange
is my
thing
niece.
to tell your niece.
Yeah.
So
Hey, let's be friends.
Eye contact. I'm a lesbian.
Happy 5th birthday.
Yeah.
so
Let's be Clara here.
whereas
And
in,
she was super into, like, was the aunt into blood too?
no,
Okay. So
But-
just Elizabeth that was like a bit of a homosexual?
yes.
Is that a real thing?
No, I just want to say hemo.
That sounds like it'd be a real thing.
Hemo? Is homosexual thing? You just beat off the blood
You
coagulation?
bleed off to blood or with blood or until you bleed.
Yes.
It's the trifecta.
Clotting, I'm close.
Looks like one of those mushrooms with the drops on it.
So back then,
Put that
lesbianism
into YouTube for
amongst
listeners.
the nobles was not bad.
Well, yeah,
Like-
you don't want spare nobles.
But if it was like 2 dudes, that is bad.
Yeah, you can be lesbians, not gay.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Exactly.
That's gross.
Yeah.
And the other thing is like she centered her torture usually on female genitalia. Like, no. So like she would bite breasts or burn pubic hair.
And just get rid of it.
To be fair, there wasn't a lot of razors back then. That might have been me. I'm sorry.
I don't know that 12-year-old girls need to worry about things like that.
Listen, I don't know that either. So,
I was full bushed up as a 12-year-old girl. I don't know about you guys.
So
yoga pants were a no-go.
what like professors say now is that, you know, kind of like where there's smoke, there's fire. So obviously there was like
the
all
burning
these.
bush.
That sounds like a pedophile thing.
biblical.
Yeah, that's grass on the field joke.
No, my thing though is that so I'm fine with the thought process that she was a lesbian, but a lot of times when they have situations where there's this anger and like lashing out towards the same sex and what you want to fuck. But like a lot of it isn't because you are like out and proud and like, yes, I'm a lesbian, like her Aunt Clara. It's because you are a lesbian or are gay, but you don't want to face or admit it.
So you're pushing back.
Yeah,
So
and
you
that's
push
the
it back
thing.
and you do it
Yeah.
with violence, you know. So it's like, I'm not gay, I just fuck guys, and then you kill, you know, like, and so you know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
because she never did say that she was, but her Aunt Clara was kind of saying that there was no reason why she shouldn't have, but she never did.
But I mean, she had a shitload of kids. You know what I mean? Like,
Well, but you had to pump them out.
I
That
get
was
them,
your
but 'cause she
job.
was getting pumped out by her husband. But what I'm getting at though is that maybe what I'm kind of spitballing here is that because she was getting like dicked down by her husband, who was kind of like her sort of like, what is it? What is it called when you share like, vested interests? But anyway, but she wasn't into it sexually, but she was like lashing out towards these young girls,
Sure. So maybe it was more okay to put your hands on them as long as you're being violent,
Yeah, exactly.
but not sensual. Is that what you're getting at?
Well, I mean, and I guess essentially, but I mean, the fact that like they say that it's reported up to like 650
Seems excessive.
girls.
It is. And that's the thing. Both sides will say that it's probably vastly lower than 650.
Really?
But 650 is like 17 per year, which is like a little over one a month. I mean, it does seem realistic.
Yeah,
Every 28 days.
that cycle.
Oh my.
I,
Someone divide 20 years by 28 days.
I just,
She sounds like Prince's mom, to be honest with you.
what's Princess Mom?
Prince's mom.
Oh.
She's never satisfied.
So
Maybe she's just like her father. He's never.
it's both sides will agree that like the reputation for being the female Count Dracula is not accurate. Like there's
Wait,
no
what? That's her
Yes.
moniker?
Yes. So like the fact that like people would say, "Oh, she bathed in blood, drank blood, would put blood on
mean, it
herself
happened.
to make herself youthful."
Sure.
There's no proof of that. So it's not. It's only like by word of mouth that there's no.
So she's like a Hollywood celebrity at this point.
Yes.
Okay.
And actually, her story has been an inspiration to a lot of books and movies like Dracula, Countess Dracula, Snow White, Sleeping Beauty, The Brothers Grimm, and many other Gothic novels and movies. And I was thinking that Hungary, I don't know why, but I was like watching the Dahmer thing when I wrote this. But anyways, it said Hungary,
She's like,
the Wisconsin of Eastern Europe.
yeah.
Yeah, you're not wrong. Lots of Polacks
Yeah, she's
here.
probably like, relax, I just want to paint some pictures.
That's just dish soap.
That's because they didn't have photography back
Yes.
then, Jake.
You want to draw her like one of her Hungarian girls.
She sounds like one of the worst people that's ever lived.
Well,
Like-
the whole concept though of like,
But guys did that stuff too. The only reason she stands out is
Guy said it's
there was
she's a
male
female.
sexual sadists all those years too. It's just
But-
that she stands out because she's a female.
But what I
sexual
wanted to
sadist.
hit on though, and I kind of said it earlier, is that because her name is Bathory, and I remember when I first was ever hearing about her years and years ago, is that like, oh yeah, she'd fill up a bath full of like
Blood.
virgin blood, or
Yeah, virgin blood, that's right.
or like females' blood and stuff. So it's
it
like
takes a lot of virgins.
it's a little on the nose
Like,
to
it's-
be.
I know it does take a lot of
You
virgins.
cut it with cow's blood or something. Like, come on, man. This is
Honestly, water at this point,
yeah.
guys.
It's cold by the
Like-
time you get in, man. It's,
Yeah, but that's cold blooded. So anyway, but no, like that's what I was getting at. Is that, do you think it's like a little on the nose as far as for the like, oh, her name is Bathory, so she'd obviously bathe.
Well, I
in
think
this-
that's the anglicized version of her last name.
Oh,
Yeah. It wasn't exactly Bathory sounding like that.
yeah. Polacks actually don't have a word for
he's tubby
bath.
then, right? Don't call back.
Sorry.
It's okay. Well, no, thank you very much. I'm really glad that we're able to hit this because I know this has been on the docket for a while.
Yeah.
I was
It
to say,
has
so
been.
just real quick. So she died, and then what happened to her kids?
Then they take over the castle.
Okay, so the lineage continued. Is it the same lineage?
Well, yeah, but then Poland and Hungary, they were getting smaller, and then back like when we were
Hunger
doing
pains.
yeah,
cold out.
back
Yeah,
when
yeah.
we were talking about Casimir.
Okay.
Yeah, that's when Poland was basically falling out of royalty altogether.
Okay.
Yeah, was that like episode like 20 something with
Yeah.
Casimir Pulaski?
It's almost like all their breeders were going somewhere. Like
America.
yeah, like 600 women.
650.
Gone.
Yeah, it is hard. Well, yeah.
There's too many dicks on the dance floor suddenly in every one of these towns.
No, I'm really glad that we're able to get onto this topic because I know it's been on the docket for a while, and it's fucking gruesome. It's real
Yeah.
gross.
It sounds horrific.
It's real
It's hard to
sad.
believe, honestly. But
Like, I mean, we kind of
trust
breezed
you with
past
that.
some of like the actual tortures, but just the like, I don't want to say I love it. What I love, like the concept of like, she's like, oh, you don't want needles in your fingers? Well, then let's get rid of your fingers, and then you don't have to worry about it.
You guys don't have
that thought
Scrabble or
It
chess or
sounds
something?
gangster.
Like, hey, let's play some board games.
Yeah,
What the,
seriously.
Yeah.
what the fuck?
Yeah, I don't know.
You're playing
Hopscotch.
board games. Let's, Yikes.
Well, thank you very much. This has been episode 105A. And thank you, Mrs. Wright, for coming back. We've been excited to have you and with bated breath.
Yeah,
No pressure.
You brought a real psycho for
Yeah,
us, and
exactly.
I appreciate it. I like
Yes.
it. Keep the gruesome stuff coming.
So if you have ideas that you want Mrs. Wright to look into as far as historical figures, something maybe not as gross as this one, or
Are you on
even
zebra
grosser.
We could do the
Cakes on
history of
cakes.
zebra cakes.
I don't want
we-
to know.
Little
Yeah.
Debbie. Let's talk about her.
By the way, Tony brought in Jake some packaged diabetes. And he hasn't stopped eating them, so.
This podcast is sponsored by Little Debbie.
Oh, if I eat enough of them on it, I think there's a shot.
Yeah, I think so.
I think we could do it.
All right.
I said I think Little Debbie would definitely like the
don't think Little
content of
Debbie-
this
It'd
podcast.
be Big Debbie.
What's the chance of Little Debbie being little?
Probably pretty good because everyone's eating her snacks.
Yeah, that's true. All right. Well, that was 105A. My name is I don't have a clever name for the middle of that one. Jake, glad I'm not living in Poland in the 16th century.
I'll be Renee Dorky. Dorky
Yeah,
right.
I forgot. That was a good one.
Yeah, I'm Adam Thurzo, right?
God damn, that's a dumb name.
You always say Adam Wright.
You do.
The only reason I never noticed that, but my husband's always like, why
Yeah.
does he always say right?
Yeah. If there's one guy to take offense with
Don't you remember when
he's the right guy to do it.
it was when from Friends when David Arquette married what's her name? So then she hyphenated her name, and then there's that one episode where all
Friends
the other
is one of the one things I've never seen.
when all the other actors they all hyphenated their name in the beginning as something whatever Arquette. They were all Arquettes.
Yeah.
That's my callback.
I'm going to kill myself.
So,
All right. That's
All right. Later, boners.
You met me at a very strange time in my life.
laying back in bed must have like startled her. So she gets up. She's like, "Oh, yeah, it is pee time." And so I can only imagine her just like doing the sleepy eye shuffle, and then she's like, "You farted in here." And then
But I literally peeing, so I had to sit there and like smell his nasty fart.
So I, honest to God, and keep in mind, there's a litter box in there. Okay, so she smelled it over the litter box, and then I sat there, and I was like, laying in bed for a while, and then I'm like, and I excused myself to the couch because I could not stop laughing about her, just trying to be like, oh.
When I got that, this is the part that was the most annoying. I didn't even really care about the fart. I've been smelling nasty dog farts for like 2 weeks straight. But
From the dogs.
yeah.
Not me, okay? By the way.
It was the fact that he was so loud when I came back to bed because all I wanted to do was take a piss and go back to sleep. It was like 4:30, 5 in the morning or something. And he's just loud, like, "Oh, you smell my fart!" And it's like, no shit, I smelled your fart. Who gives a fuck?
Because
Go
he's
to bed.
proud of it.
I know.
It was a gift from my body.
So it was-
Okay?
that was the most annoying.
Not the